Since John Wick 4, we've had two John Wick style spin offs. The Continental, the TV series, I think on Amazon, which I don't know if anyone's watched. I've never ever spoken to anyone who's seen the Continental. So basically, these producers have decided that the world wants a lot more John Wick, wants a lot more of that universe. And I don't really blame them. I think it's a very good, very creative universe. But are we losing the essence of why the first John Wick film was very good? And then why the second was good? I think the first John Wick film was fantastic because it was surreal that this guy who just seemed like an average Joe lost his dog turned out to be like the wrong guy completely. And he went on this massive tirade because he lost a dog. And I think people connected to that and found it very interesting. And then with the other films, they had to just sort of make it more interesting because they didn't have that plot anymore. And they just widened the scopes and gave us a big look at this universe, looked into every corner, introduced us to new tribes, new rules, and that was interesting for a while. The other thing that these films do really well is that they don't do loads of jump cuts and they don't zoom around and try and splice things together. They really introduce very intense, detailed choreography of fighting, and then they shoot it all at a mid shot so that we can see it all happening. And amongst it, I think there's some good comedy, some very, very good dry comedy within these fighting scenes. And I think that's why people like it as well. John Wick is someone who doesn't have like a load of personality, and therefore him doing something ironically funny, like just throwing an axe in someone's face from 100 yards, it is. I think those were the selling points of those films, and I don't think this taps into the same magic well that the original John Wick films do. But saying that, if I was to judge this film on its great moments, then it would be a very, very, very good film because it has some fantastic moments and moments where you realise that they had these magic light bulbs in the writing room, and then they put a lot of care into making sure those scenes, the cinematography really, really landed, especially in the moments that involved you know who. I think I hope that's not a spoiler. But I know I'm not the only one because I do have friends, I do speak to people, and I know I'm not the only one who finds some of these films a bit of a marathon in terms of getting through these large, long sequences of fighting. And it's not like they're doing anything wrong. I think you just have to really like that. And I'm someone who, when I like action films, it needs to be combined with a good dose of fantastic storytelling or maybe some really good comedy. And it's not really that style of film. I think it is like a standard revenge plot. So I'd say it's very good for some of the reasons that John Wick is good, but not for the main reasons.